Welcome. My name is Michelle Carlisle, and today I'm going to be demonstrating some of the basics in using Google Drive. Specifically, if you have previously been saving files locally on your This PC or your desktop or your mapped home directory, such as your H drive or possibly your M drive, this training will help transition to saving and storing all of your files at Google Drive. So, what is Google Drive? Google Drive is a free web-based tool from Google. It allows you to create, store, access, and share your files from anywhere that you're connected to the internet. There's even a setting for you to access your files offline if you're not connected to the internet once you've begun synchronizing and saving your files. Unlike saving spaces at such things as this PC or your desktop or your My Documents or even your home directory, Google Drive lets you access your materials from anywhere you can connect to the internet and sign into your Google account. That's everywhere. You can use Google Drive on virtually any device you can connect to the internet as well. A laptop, a home desktop, a mobile phone, an iPad or tablet. Multiple devices will let you log into your Google Drive, allowing you to save and store and see your files from anywhere you're located. If you're currently using storage devices such as this PC, My Documents, your desktop, or even your home directory, that local storage option limits you to only having access when you're sitting in front of that computer. If you share spaces with another classroom teacher, if you're out of your classroom for any reason, if you're mobile within your school building and can't take your computer with you from room to room, you won't have access to the files that you need if you're saving locally. If you're saving your files and folders to Google Drive, anywhere you are, at any time, you'll have access to your documents and your folders and your files. So, how can you get to Google Drive? And we'll demonstrate this as well as showing you here on the slideshow too. But how do you get here? First, you can go to the Chrome browser and type in the address bar drive.google.com and then sign in using your Google credentials. You look for the waffle in the top left of the browser. The top right of the browser. And it's the app launcher or the waffle, or you even might hear it called the 9 square. When you click on that, all of your apps drop down and you're looking for the colored triangle, the Google Drive triangle. That's one way to launch Google Drive. Another way, you can actually click on your start menu of your Windows computer. And from your start menu of your Windows computer, you can find the Google Drive and launch it from there. A third option is to look on your desktop or your taskbar for the triangle, the Google Drive triangle. It's green, yellow, red, and blue, and it will also launch Google Drive. From within Google Drive, what can you do? Well, you can create a new folder. You can upload a file. You can upload a folder. You can create new individual documents and files, such as documents, which you might also know as Microsoft Word, sheets, they're Microsoft Excel documents, slides, which you might know as PowerPoint, and Google Forms, and many more options. So let's jump out and take a look what it looks like from your computer as you are actually moving to Google Drive and trying to access files, move files, and save files. So I'll close my presentation for now. And as you can see, I've got 3 windows here. I'm going to start with the Chrome browser. I already have it up. So remember I said you could access your Google Drive by typing in your Chrome browser, drive.google.com. That's what I'm doing right now. And once I am at drive.google.com, I'm already signed in. So as you can see, I'm signed in and all of my files are already present. But in the top right, here is that waffle I mentioned. It is a 9 square It's a waffle, it's an app launcher, but it's always in the top right corner when you visited Google Drive via drive.google.com. So I'm going to click on that. And it shows you all of the Google apps that we have loaded. Gmail, Search, Calendar, Drive. There's even individual launchers for the products within Google Drive as well. Since my drive is open, I don't need to click on it again. But if I did, if it weren't open yet, this is what would open. Once I've opened my Google Drive from the browser, I can actually customize a little bit how I view files and folders that are in this Google Drive. So again, under the waffle, on the right-hand side of your page, if you mouse over my square box right now, it says Grid View because I'm currently viewing it in list form. When I click on Grid View, all of my files and folders transition to a grid. Now, in List View, they're listed numerically by folder, then by file, and then alphabetically by folder and by file. I'll take a quick scroll to demonstrate that. Numerically by folder, and then alphabetically by folder. And then once I start having individual files instead of them being inside of a folder, when I scroll down, and my Google Drive is very large, again, numerically by file and alphabetically by file. Clicking on this box in the top right changes from grid, this is the grid view, to list. This is the list view. Other aesthetic settings that you may be interested in, as you can see, this folder is pink, not gray. Why? Well, I like to color code certain folders to help me see them or glance at them more quickly. They make them more visible to me when I'm looking for things. And it's completely up to the way you like to save and store files and folders. But if you choose to color code your folders, it's quite simple. You just simply need to right-click on one of those file folders and choose Change Color. And I'll make that yellow. And I've now changed that folder aesthetically to a different color. It doesn't mess with anything inside of that file folder. It also doesn't color anything inside of the folder. It only colors the root folder, the folder that appears in your list or your grid view. You may also notice a little person on some of my folders. Some of these folders have been shared with others. Any folder I have shared with others will appear with a person on it. I'll do another training later about how you can share your folders or files with other people in your Google Drive. But that's what the person is on some of these folders. You may also notice there is a star beside some of my folders. To get a star on one of my folders, I can scroll down here and I can right click on that again and I can choose to add to star. And where does that go? Well, it stays in your list, first of all, but then it also goes over here to the left where it says starred. Any folder or file you have added a star to will then show up in starred so that you can get to it more quickly. And then when you're done with something being starred, you can right click on it and click remove starred. These are all ways to organize and sort your files and folders once they're in the My Drive. To get back to what you would call the home page of your My Drive, you click on My Drive. So those are just some ways to move around. Finally, in the top here, you'll see I've got some suggested. You might also see that from time to time called recent. Anything you've opened recently or you use very frequently will appear at the top as a suggested or as a recent. Just means you're either using it very frequently or you've opened it within the past week or so. So those are just some of the ways for you to see what is saved in your My Drive. Now, that was the first way to get to my drive, drive.google.com. Let's take a look at another way to access your Google Drive. As you can see, if you'll remember, I mentioned this PC. On a Windows 10 computer, it's called this PC. On some of your older computers, it may still be called My Computer, or you may be looking at just the C drive, or it may still say My Documents. But on this computer, it's called this PC. This PC is where your files are stored, but because there's a shortcut for the Google Drive on this PC, you can also see it right here in your quick access menu. So from your This PC, where your files are currently being saved, you can either go to your Google Drive, or you can leave this open to move files and folders. We'll work on that in just a minute. The other way I mentioned getting to your Google Drive was to go to your Start menu. And from your Start menu, it will show in your Recents, or you can type Drive. And it pops up, and you can launch Google Drive from the Start menu. Now, because I already have this Google Drive folder opened, it says it's already running. There's what it looks like as a folder shortcut or a file shortcut on your computer desktop. Launching it from the Start menu or from the pinned icon, the Google Drive triangle, which I have in my taskbar. Some of you may have it as a shortcut out here on your desktop. These are all ways to get to Google Drive, and they all take you to the same place where your documents are saved, stored, and can be opened and used. Anything you add to your Google Drive goes to the cloud and is available at other devices as soon as those are saved. So they synchronize and they're immediately available. Now, you've already got your files at different locations. You have files in your documents. You have files in your this PC. You've saved your work in your home directory. My home directory is actually called the technology folder. How can you move your files from where you currently have them saved into your Google Drive? There are several ways. Since I already have these two Windows Explorer options open, I'm going to first show you how to just simply drag and drop. So let's start with this PC. Typically, when you're saving a document in this PC, it's going to be showed up in Documents. And it might also be showed up in this case, I have some videos. So this is from this PC. I have these videos that are on this local computer. I can't access them from anywhere except for sitting in front of this computer. I want one of these videos on my drive. So I can simply click, drag, and drop into my drive. And now if I double click on that, that video is loading. It's actually the little cone triangle, 2021 5 5. And that is a video that I've just dragged and dropped right over from this PC into my Google Drive. Say I have some things on the home directory I'd like to get also. And remember, your H drive is probably your H drive or home directory. It may say your own name, just depends on your school district. My home directory in this computer is called Technology. I'm going to go ahead and double click on that. I want to grab this JUMAG World Language. It's a folder, not just an individual file. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to drag it over to my drive and let it go. It's telling me there are some files that it doesn't recognize. So I'm going to say yes to all. And it collectively saved that as a folder. So that's one way for you to move documents, files, and folders that you have saved on your local computer, your this PC, your documents, videos, or if you have photos. Another location on your this PC might be camera roll. So you can click and drag over to your My Drive. But let's say you really liked that browser option and you would like to upload your files and folders from your browser. That's easy. Let's go ahead and launch your Google Chrome again. We're going to go to the waffle to launch your Google Drive or type drive.google.com. And over here on the right, you can see this new with a plus key. So to upload a file or a folder from drive.google.com, you can click on New, you can click on Folder Upload, and you go to your This PC or your desktop, wherever that folder is located. I'm going to go back to my technology, my H directory, my home drive, and I want to upload this Jumag World Language. I'm going to click on Upload the folder. It says, it's a warning, this will upload all the files from Jumag World Language. Only do this if you trust the site. So obviously you know where you're grabbing your own files from. If you trust it, say upload. It's telling me I've already got this here, so I want to keep the existing. And at the bottom left behind me, it's showing the upload is complete, and I can close that. Let's say you don't have a folder to upload, you just have a file. Click on New, File Upload. And this time I want to upload this flower picture. And I'm going to click on Open, which is the same as Upload. It's done, and now it is in my drive. I want to make sure that picture was called flower, so I can click on the search bar and type flower. And my drive is very large. So this happens to be a Chinese character. It showed up, it's in here, it was updated and uploaded at 11:06 a.m. by me, Michelle Carlisle. So again, to upload from drive.google.com, you can click on New and go to File Upload, Individual File, or you can go to Folder Upload, a whole folder. Now, let's say you've got all of these things in here and now you want your folders more organized. Oh, they're in here, it's a mess, you don't like all of that. You can start to drag and drop. You can either drag a file, so I'm going to click, hold my mouse, drag up to a folder. I'm going to drop that into this folder just because I have a lot of folders. It does give you an opportunity of about 30 seconds to click undo if you didn't want to move it there. But you can drag and drop any files or folders within your Google Drive to help organize yourself once you've started moving things. Another way is to open the file or the folder itself and choose to move a file or folder. So if I wanted to update or if I wanted to open this document, for instance, and I wanted it somewhere different, I can click on File, and then I can choose to move it to anywhere else in my Google Drive. So I can choose to create a new folder right here, or I can go and I can search and I can find the name of the folder I'd like to put it in and then drop it in to that folder. So I would like that in the distance education folder. I'm going to click move. It does tell me because it's a shared folder, anyone can see that. And again, we'll talk about shared folders and files again in another training. When I'm done with that particular document, I can close it. I can click back on my drive and I can see where I am. Again, you can move folders and files within your Google Drive by clicking and dragging and dropping. You can right click on a folder and click move to. You can open a file or folder and go to file, move. There are multiple ways within your drive to be able to move things to organize them in the way you would like to. One last thing I want to cover quickly is how to search in your Google Drive. You can see the magnifying glass, you have a search bar. You can type the name of the document you think it is. Let's go with 2122 bell schedule and see what pops up. Oops, I probably ought to type it correctly. Working bell schedule, final course bell schedule. It does show anything with that word in it. So if that's the one I want, I can open it and view it. Let's say you want to get a little more specific in the search and you're not sure what the title was. You can actually go, instead of typing something in the search bar, you can actually go to the right of the search bar and the search options and choose, if you know it's a doc, you can choose only doc. If you know you're the owner, you can say owned by me. You don't know where it was saved, so you wouldn't need to change that. You know you worked on it in the last 6 months. You can change the time that you modified it and what you think the words might be in that file. And then you can click search in order to help you find a file that you have saved in your Google Drive. So in closing, I just want to recap some of the things that we've talked about today. We've talked about the ways that you can open your Google Drive by launching a Chrome browser and typing drive.google.com and then clicking on the waffle. We've talked about finding it through your start menu, about finding the Google icon on your desktop or your taskbar and launching it from there. We've talked about the ways that you can create new folders and files. We've talked about the ways you can upload files and folders from other locations. And we've talked about briefly the ways you can search for files and folders within your Google Drive. The next training will cover some specifics about how you share your documents or folders or files within your Google Drive, and also some ways that you can create individual items. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. I can be reached at michelle.carlisle@ecoesc.org. Make it a great day.